Alexandra Eala explains why the Australian Open is so special to her ahead of her first main draw. Alexandra Eala's breakout success in 2025 has earned her a first-time ever place in the Australian Open main draw. Eala impressed at the ASB Classic to begin her 2026 season, which has earned her world number 49 in the rankings ahead of the Australian Open. Her huge ranking climb over the past year means she has automatically qualified for the first Grand Slam of the year. The Filipina is relishing the chance to play her first Australian Open main draw, and she's explained what she finds special about the tournament. Alexandra Eala has great memories at the Australian Open. Eala has fond memories of the Australian Open, despite not making the singles main draw in her last 2 attempts. The star has tasted success at the first Grand Slam of the year in doubles, though, as she won the junior doubles title alongside Priska Madeline Negrohu in 2020. The Australian Open was probably one of my first junior Grand Slam, and for me to be able to win the junior girls doubles with a good friend of mine was such a treasured memory. Eala is a huge fan of the Australian Open and called it special when appearing in a video alongside Rafael Nadal for Kia. Actually, what makes it special for me is the energy. I feel like people have so much fun there. There's so much diversity. It's sort of my home slam, and I have a lot of good memories there. The 20-year-old will find out her first ever Australian Open main draw opponent when the draw is made on January 15th. Alexandra Eala's next match confirmed before the Australian Open. Eala might be looking forward to the Australian Open, but she has to get through another high-profile tournament first. The 20-year-old is set to play the Kooyong Classic in Melbourne ahead of the Grand Slam, and her first match is set to be against Donna Vekic. Eala knows all about the former Wimbledon semifinalist, having beaten her in the first round of the ASB Classic recently. The Filipina will play the exhibition event alongside high-profile talent including Alexander Zverev, Nick Kyrgios, and Alexander Bublik. The star will play Donna Vekic on Tuesday, January 13th as she continues her preparations for the Australian Open. Alexandra Eala explains why the Australian Open is so special to her ahead of her first main draw. The Melbourne air always feels different to Alexandra Eala. It carries the warmth of summer and the hum of anticipation, the sound of tennis balls echoing across blue courts, and the quiet dreams of players who once walked these grounds as juniors, wide-eyed and hopeful. For Eala, the Australian Open is not just another Grand Slam. It is a place stitched into her memory, a chapter of her story that keeps unfolding, now leading her to a moment she once only imagined, stepping into the first main draw of her professional career. "This is where everything started to feel real," she says, her voice calm but carrying a sense of reverence. "The Australian Open was the first slam where I truly believed I belonged." That belief was born years ago, when Eala arrived in Melbourne not as a headline name, but as a teenager with a fierce left-handed forehand and a dream larger than her frame. The courts felt enormous then, the stands intimidating, the stage almost unreal. Yet there was also freedom. Junior tournaments, she recalls, were about expression, about learning who you were as a player while standing under the brightest lights. Winning the Australian Open girls singles title was a defining moment, but what stayed with her went beyond the trophy. It was the feeling of possibility. The sense that hard work done far from home, long days at the Rafa Nadal Academy, countless hours refining technique, discipline, and mentality, could translate into something meaningful on the world's biggest stages. "Melbourne showed me what was possible," Eala reflects. "It taught me that dreams don't have to stay dreams." Now, as she prepares to walk through the same gates for the main draw, the emotions are layered and complex. There is excitement, of course, but also gratitude and calm determination. She is no longer the junior discovering the tour, she is a professional carving out her place in it. The Australian Open, she explains, is special because it mirrors her journey. It represents beginnings, growth, and resilience. The tournament is known for its intensity, long rallies under a blazing sun, matches that test physical and mental limits. But that challenge is precisely what makes it meaningful. "I love how demanding it is," she says with a smile. "It forces you to be present, to fight for every point. That's how tennis should be." For Eala, playing in Melbourne also brings a sense of connection to home. As one of the Philippines' brightest tennis hopes, she carries the pride of a nation that has watched her rise with quiet hope and growing excitement. She knows that every match she plays resonates beyond the court, inspiring young athletes who see in her a reflection of their own ambitions. "When I play here, I feel like I'm carrying so many people with me," she says. "That motivates me, not pressures me." The crowd at the Australian Open is another reason the tournament holds a special place in her heart. Melbourne fans are known for their passion and respect for the game. They appreciate grit, sportsmanship, and courage, qualities Eala strives to embody. "They really love tennis here," she explains. "You feel it when you walk onto the court. Even when you're not the favorite, they give you energy." As she prepares for her first main draw appearance, Eala is grounded in perspective. She understands that this moment is not a destination, but a step. A meaningful one, yes, but still part of a much longer journey. "I remind myself that I've earned this," she says. "But I also know there's so much more to learn, so much more to do." Her goals for the tournament are simple and deeply personal. Compete with courage, stay true to her game, and embrace the experience fully. She wants to test herself against the best, to see where she stands, and to grow from every rally, win or lose. In many ways, returning to the Australian Open feels like coming full circle. The same courts that once introduced her to the belief that she belonged are now welcoming her back as a professional, ready to write a new chapter. "This tournament has seen me grow," Eala says softly. "From a junior with big dreams to someone who's still dreaming, but with more clarity and confidence." As Melbourne lights up once again, Alexandra Eala steps forward not just as a player chasing results, but as a young woman honoring her journey. The Australian Open remains special because it holds her past, her present, and the promise of her future, etched into blue courts under an endless summer sky.